Hey, welcome into the Snap. Week 11 waivers for you. A really important week in the fantasy season, as this is the week leading up to your trade deadline. Most leagues are week 11 or week 12. Check your settings and make sure that you know that when your trade deadline is, because some of these pickups become a little bit more important moving forward with the inability to trade. As always, if you guys like the video, throw a like on it, subscribe to the channel. We are trying to get to 3,000 subscribers, only about 25 away, so your help is appreciated. Without further ado, let's jump into the top ads for week 11. Starting off with Green Bay Packers wide receiver Christian Watson. Now, Christian Watson notably has struggled to stay healthy, has struggled with the drops, but he broke out. This was his coming out party. 4 receptions, 107 yards, 3 touchdowns, 84% snaps on 8 targets. And 8 targets is a really good number to see for Christian Watson. This Packers wide receiver core needs help. Christian Watson is finally healthy. We see him do it. One thing to note, this is only his second game of 7 that he's played where he's been on the field for over 30% of the snaps. The other game, week 1. 17% rostered in sleeper leagues as of right now. I think you're going to have to get a little bit aggressive to get Christian Watson on your team. Everyone likes to chase the big points, the big games, but Green Bay did trade up in the second round to get this guy on their team. They desperately need somebody to break out. He looks like the best candidate alongside Allen Lazard. I'm going to spend at least 20% FAAB if I want to secure Christian Watson on my squad. A lot of guys on bye this week. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Tyreek Hill come to mind. If you're looking for a fill-in, Christian Watson might be that guy. On to my second wide receiver that you should be picking up, and that's Parris Campbell. 80% snaps, coming off another really big game. 7 receptions, 76 yards, and a touchdown. Of the last 5 weeks, Parris Campbell has been a top 12 wide receiver 3 of those times. He's currently only 27% owned. I would spend about 8% on him. Moving on to the running back position, I think a really good stash, and I say stash because he is on bye this week, is Rachaad White. Now, if the Bucs were not on bye this week, it would be probably pretty safe to say that people would be spending up to get Rachaad White, but with him being on bye, there might be more readily available players that people will be spending their money on, like 2 I'm going to bring up, Isaiah Pacheco and Elijah Mitchell. But Rachaad White, what's interesting to me is he played 64% of the snaps. He had 22 total touches, 105 yards. Yes, Leonard Fournette left the game in the third quarter with an injury, but Rachaad White got the start. And that's, to me, the most important thing here. They go into a bye week. Each and every year we see rookies go into bye weeks and come out with larger roles. So this could be a piece that you secure for the rest of your season that could help you win. So 55% rostered. I'm going to spend at least 11% on my FAAB, even though he's not playing this week. I think that's a secure bid to get him on your squad. On to the next here. Elijah Mitchell made his return. I didn't see this coming with Christian McCaffrey being a San Francisco 49er, but Elijah Mitchell had 18 attempts in this game, 19 total touches of the football for 89 yards. Only played 35% of the snaps, but was very, very fantasy relevant. And when it came down to it, it looks like Kyle Shanahan's going to deploy a committee regardless of who his running back 1 is. You know, we thought when they traded for Christian McCaffrey that it was going to be the McCaffrey show. Seems like Kyle Shanahan is trying to out-genius the genius here and go with a committee approach. He's currently 60% rostered. I think if you are desperate for a running back, 12% is what I'm going with. I think that gets it done. Isaiah Pacheco is where we're going to go. 56% of snaps, 16 total touches for 82 yards. Now, my temperature on the Kansas City running game doesn't change. This is still a team that does not run the football. And if they do so in a committee approach. But the one thing that I want to highlight is that Clyde Edwards-Helaire only played 4 snaps this game, was completely healthy, and had 0 touches. Pacheco is currently 33% rostered. He is getting the first team looks. Jerick McKinnon is absorbing some of the pass catching work, but Pacheco is the primary option. I'm only spending 8% of my FAAB because I'm tempering expectations for the Kansas City Chiefs running back. Isaiah Pacheco might be worth an add. On to the tight end position, we have to talk about the man who has popped, someone that we were very big on preseason, didn't really play out in the first half of the season, but Cole Kmet is absolutely dominating right now. 93% snaps, 4 receptions, 74 yards, and his second straight 2-touchdown performance. Week 11, he's playing the Atlanta Falcons. They are giving up the 7th most fantasy points to the tight end right now. Cole Kmet is probably a good candidate to stay in the flames on, and if you are a team that lost to Zach Ertz, for example, Cole Kmet might be the perfect guy to fill in for your team while you figure things out. 53% rostered, I'm going to spend at least 6% of my FAAB if I'd like to get Cole Kmet on my roster. If you are desperate for a tight end start this week, I would bump that up to 11. Talking about Zach Ertz, the Arizona Cardinals are going to be without Zach Ertz for the rest of the season. He has suffered a season-ending knee injury, which is disappointing because Ertz was really producing for you as a streaming tight end. The Arizona Cardinals right now are the 4th in tight end targets at 72, 68 of them to Zach Ertz and 4 to Trey McBride. They drafted Trey McBride fairly high in the draft. He was the number 1 tight end prospect in this 2022 draft class, and I think he'll jump right into a workload. He did have 90+% of the snaps in this game, but he's going to absorb that pass catching role. There's no doubt about it. 5% roster right now. I think you can spend 6% because people in your leagues just might not know about Trey McBride, and you can scoop in there and get some value. So Trey McBride, a definite add for me. Lastly, a man that shall not be named, but I will pop him up on the screen here. Eligible to practice this week. He's going to make his season debut as a Cleveland Brown in Houston. How ironic, in week 13. So Deshaun Watson is worth an add in your leagues. Currently only 44% owned. This is going to be the time. If you wait too long, you're going to pay up for him. I think this is the week to ultimately scoop him on the low, but please only do it if you have the space. It is a luxury pick to get Deshaun Watson on your team. Let us know down in the comments below who you are targeting in your leagues, how much you should spend, should you burn your priority. We'll try to help you as much as we can. Good luck on your waivers, and we'll see you next week.